herded the birds over here, distracted them with an extra treat so that they can move the chicken tractor out of the electric fencing here. Evelyn, calm down. Oh man.
Back's gonna be the pivot point. We're gonna rip in front. Alright, go put the forks under it.
Okay.
Hey, back wheels the other way. Keep going back. Keep going. See? Down with it. I think that's good right there.
That's fine. Yeah, because I can move it down from there myself. So this spot will be a good spot for the birds to start out in. I'll probably move them, not tomorrow, but the next day. I'll get them all moved out here, and then I'll be able to move them every day. I'll be able to scoot it down a pad, the space of that, down the hill until then I'll need help to get it turned around and scooted over. I can pull it one length by myself, but when we have to move it back and forth or pull it uphill, then I have to have them come out and help me. Hey guys, welcome to 3 Mississippi. Sid here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Today I've got 50 Cornish meat birds to move out to pasture. I've got a few pallets to unload, and I've got the old brooder to get moved out after I get these birds moved out to pasture and get ready for the 50 new chicks that are headed here in just a couple of days. Man, the timing's tight, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Let's get to work. So the first thing I gotta do, I gotta make this fence not so electric. So my game plan is I'm gonna take the animal crates, load them back up in the back of the Polaris, take it to the garage, load up the birds, and I'm gonna drive the Polaris back down here, get them all set up in the tractor. I cleaned out their water and their other feeder out here, but I do still need to set those up. So I'll probably start with that first before I start moving birds, so that once I get them out of the pen, as I'm transporting them, they'll be nice and happy. The kids are making a racket out here. What? What's the matter? It's just me. Roderick. Baby. Oh, it's breeding season. Yes, we are grumpy. All right. Okay, okay. He's been protecting his girls fiercely, that's for sure. Get my hose. This hose is not gonna reach as far as I need it to, so I'm gonna have to muscle the water down there, and eventually I'm gonna have to do bucket brigade to fill the water, but for today, that'll work. My escapees that keep getting out, I keep finding new places that they're laying eggs. They're so creative. Bless them. I don't think these have been there that long, but I'll float test them when I get back inside. Last legs for a minute, and he's officially died, which is unfortunate because it's my bigger carrier. So I have to hold it awkwardly to keep it from completely disintegrating right now while it's got birds in it. You'll always be my in there. I gotta go get the last few that I think will fit in the one working carrier, so that just means one more trip, and so that's not too bad, but they're happy. Get a little extra food and they're having water and they'll mellow out. It would help if I closed the door. The last thing I want is to come back out here after getting the next batch and walk out and find, why is this not closing? Well, that's a new problem, isn't it? Blessed. What are we stuck on? Oh, it's zip tied. Okay. Alright. It's not zip tied, it's tied with a string. All right, I did not get that memo. See, this is when y'all give me a hard time about having nails. Come in handy a lot around here. It is off kilter, but it works. It's closed, it's done. Bada bing, bada bing. Whew. All right, let's go do round 2. Man, I dislike bird moving day. It's never fun. This actually went relatively smoothly with the exception of my other big carrier breaking, which is a bummer. I've had that thing forever. I need another big carrier. I'm gonna have to invest in one eventually, and they're not cheap anymore, unfortunately. Not that they were ever cheap, but they're pricier now than they were back in the day. These guys are now out on pasture, so that starts our real countdown now to Butcher Day, which is always exciting. If you guys are new to the channel, we have been pasturing birds for quite some time now. If you're able to pasture your poultry, I highly recommend it. It's better for them, it's better for you. Even your laying hens, we pasture them as well. They're getting the nutrients and the things out of the soil, the bugs, and they're able to forage and act like chickens, which is what they're supposed to do. That's what nature intended. They're gonna have higher vitamins and things in their meat and their eggs that a lot of the things that you buy in the store tend to be deficient in nowadays. So I highly recommend, if you're able to, especially if you're raising your own birds, if you're raising your own layers, you know, pasture them, because the difference in the omegas and the vitamin B12 and all of that for your meat and your eggs is just, it's a game changer. So not to mention the fact that you will be saving on feed. Cornish Cross, they eat a ton. They grow at a crazy rate. And I mean, these are Cornish game hen size right about now. They're 4 weeks old. And you could process them out right now and have a small little game hen meal, okay? Depending on what week you process them out at, they are considered either broilers or roasters or fryers and all of that, you know, depending on if you do 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, right? A lot of that depends too on how much they actually weigh, right? I like the fact that they get more exercise. I have less die off from just sitting and being inactive and eating too much, because they are foraging and they are being active. They don't tend to get as big as quickly because of that, because they are being a little bit more natural and bird-like versus being more, I guess, veal-like and in one spot and not allowed to move and forage like they are in here. They are protected from predators. They'll get moved down the pasture to fresh greenery every day where they can forage for new bugs. But it's a game changer, guys, because they will decimate a stretch of pasture quite quickly in one day, and you got to move them every day, and they will continue to just eat that, and that is less feed that you're having to give them, and you're going to be having better meat and better eggs because of it. So if you're able to pasture your birds, I highly recommend it. If you're not, there are other options. Look into doing things like fodder trays and things like that, because that is another way to get that greenery into their system. So now that I got these guys moved, it's time to clean out the brooder and set up the brooder for round 2. that off. Of course, the wind picked up real bad when I'm trying to clean a tent. That worked out well for me. I let Tashka out for a little while to play with Kusi because I'm out here watching and it's just a little bit before everybody's dinner time. I got to get this other brooder set up for the new guys. Again, guys, excuse the very messy garage. We've been in the process of kind of reorganizing the shop, and you know, we haven't been here quite 2 years yet, but in some ways it feels like it's been 6 months. I managed to get the house organized right off the bat, but the garage and the shop have sort of been shuffled about a bit. This new refrigerator, or freezer rather, that we just got is kind of in my way. I didn't realize Mike was going to park it in the middle of the garage, which is my access point here. So that's kind of a giant pain in my rear at the moment. He's also left lumber here that he promised was going to get moved a month ago into the shop so that it wasn't going to be in my way while I was brooding birds. And this, all his stuff that's over here, was also supposed to be dealt with, but it's not. And there's also a broken freezer over here, which is why we got the new freezer. So I'm basically playing Tetris every time I come in here to deal with the birds. So that's fun. But I've only got 2 more rounds of birds to do this season. So I will persevere. So I'm gonna get these guys in here. I'm gonna get this all ready. I have not gotten the text message or the call yet saying that the birds have shipped out, but I will any day now. I likely will get that message tonight. Today is Monday, just for reference. I'm guessing they'll be here most likely Thursday. They'll probably ship out tonight. At the worst, they'll ship out tomorrow morning, and that still might put them here by Thursday. So again, I'm just gonna put a nice layer of bedding in here. I'm not gonna fill their food and waters yet. I have their heat plates here, but I'm not gonna turn them on. I'll wait till probably tomorrow or Wednesday to turn those on and get them warmed up again. I know they're working this season already, so I'm not worried. You know, I've already tested them recently. So I'm basically just getting this ready to go for when they get here in a couple of days. The long-term plan is this is gonna go in the shop, but for right now it's in the middle randomly of the garage. It's not plugged in. We did have to hurry up and get it because we have, I don't know, roughly a quarter of a steer coming. So we did have to hurry up and get a freezer because between the deer that Mike got this season and the 100 chickens that I'm about to be processing over the next couple of months, you know, I won't sell them all instantly, and some of them will want to keep. So, you know, freezer space was getting a little scarce, and a quarter of a cow, well, it takes up some room. So we needed another good stand-up freezer. We thought that chest freezer, you know, unfortunately we moved it from California and it did not survive the move. So there was a few things that, you know, that we spent the money essentially on moving down here that didn't make it, and that was one of them. So that was a casualty, which is a bummer because I guess, you know, lesson learned. I would have much rather have, like, you know, seen if the the new owners of our old house would have liked to, you know, bought it for $100 or something versus lugging it down here, and because it wasn't that old of a freezer, which is why we lugged it with us. But you know, whatever. But now I have a bunch of pallets in the back of the car. We have our food pantry at church, and we had a bunch of pallets left over afterwards, and I asked them, I said, hey, what's gonna happen with these pallets? And they're like, well, you know, that sometimes so-and-so takes them, whatever. I said, well, anybody care if I take them? So I'm taking them, or I took them, and but I gotta unload them because I do have to go pick up Frankie later tonight, and I don't really want to have to drive around town with them yet again, with them in the back of my truck. And I gotta go drop off. I made some stew for my neighbors tonight. They're getting some of the cow as well. We're sharing, well, they're sharing with us. But there's a particular cut that I make this stew out of that Mike really likes, and he was like, you gotta make that stew for them because they just usually grind that cut, and and I don't even know what the cut is, to be honest. I look at it at the grocery store, and I've used a couple different cuts for it. It works fine in the pressure cooker. But anyway, I made them some stew, so I gotta run that up there to them pretty soon. But I gotta get this unloaded before I do all that and go get the kid later. So, and somewhere in between all that, I need to eat dinner. Whew. It's a long day, and I gotta go in the back cave because I got some editing to do too. Man. All right, let's get to work unloading. Well, as you guys can probably hear, my chicks have arrived. They shipped out late Wednesday night. It is Friday morning, and they are here. Unfortunately, it was really cold while they were being shipped the last couple of days. So, as you can hear, they're quite cranky. I've got the seat warmer on. I tried to pick them up as soon as the post office called me, but I had to finish up a few things at home before I could go grab them. So I am getting home to get them set up in their brooder. I always like to unpack them and count them as I unpack them just to double check. You know, they usually give you about 3 extra birds. So it's the next morning. I checked on them last night, which I didn't film, and they had all put themselves to bed under their 2 heat plates. There was 53 total of them in here. No exotic chick this time. But like I said, they did ship out late, so I think there may have been some hatching issues this week. This batch this morning, when I came out to check on them and everything, probably a good third of them was scattered and crying and cold and looked like they were, you know, doing that thing where they were kind of on the verge of not making it. So I put them all back under the heat plate because it is, I mean, it's chilly out today. It was supposed to be warm, but it is chilly out. And as you can hear, they're not super happy. They're all huddled under the heat plate. There's not a whole lot I can do. They're all huddled under there. Some of them seem fine, not bothered by it, but there was a few that like went all the way back in that back corner and were just kind of huddled together. And but so far so good. I managed to get them all back under here, and they seem to be perked back up and doing okay. You can see I've already moved these birds several times now. You can see where I've dragged them down the hill here to their new spots. I move them every day. I move them the length of the tractor, and they've been out here for several days now, as you can see by the length of the trail. They're getting bigger. Look at these little chunkamunks. They're getting big. I mean, that's just a few days growth worth out on the pasture here. They're all excited because I'm here, so of course they're like it's like Black Friday sale at Macy's. They're all pushed up against the glass right now. But they're huge. Look at these guys. But look at them. They are just monsters. They are big, and they have all that room in there to gobble gobble. But of course I'm out here, so they think obviously they're getting more food. But they've just been, I mean, look, they just plow down that pasture. They plow it down and add their nutrients to it as they do it. They do a good job. So it's been a big week here for the birds. I've seen the ducks have been having successful matings, which is good. They've started a clutch, which is good. Right now, Millie, one of my Sebastopol geese, has kind of taken over one of the nests. So we'll see what happens there. She's not the best sitter. She'll sit for a while and then she'll go like squirrel and get distracted and decide she doesn't want to sit anymore. So I kind of have to watch her to see if I have to pull the eggs or not. I don't know whether or not her eggs are fertilized by Roderick or not. You know, geese eggs, typically Sebastopols only have about a 20% hatch rate anyway. And I don't know if you know, if they were to able to breed, if they would have a mule. I haven't been able to find anything online about it. And, you know, even once in a blue moon, mules are still able to reproduce. It would be a goose that I'd be like, well, okay, we can raise it and we could eat that goose, because it wouldn't be anything that would be sellable really, in the sense that it would be a Sebastable, you know, it would be mixed. My ducks are doing good. I'm happy to see them thriving. So it's been a big bird week. I did get my other shipment of those birds in. They're settled. They're doing okay. Not as hearty of a batch, I gotta say. In the first 24 hours, I did lose. Well, between the first 24 hours, I lost 13 birds, and then the next morning, which wasn't even quite another 24 hours later, I lost whatever it was. Anyway, I've ended up losing like 17 birds out of that batch. And you know, it happens once in a while. You get a bad batch. I have not reached out to the hatchery just yet. I've honestly just been too busy today to sit down and write that email. I had some business YouTube stuff to take care of, and that kind of got put on the back burner a little bit with the animal stuff that I had to take care of. So I may or may not reach out to them, and just to let them know that, hey, this was a bum batch. Have you had anybody else come back from the batch that week and tell you that they've lost a bunch of birds? Feel like crediting me for any of those birds? That'd be cool too. Because, you know, back when we started this, birds were, you know, under $2 a bird. Now they're, you know, what, between $3 and $4 a bird, depending on how you're ordering them. So, yeah, it's a big price difference. Losing that many at once is kind of a bummer. But these guys are doing really well. They're out on pasture. I have not lost any of these guys since they've been out on pasture. They are thriving. So I'm happy with their progress, and they look great. And I just keep moving them every day. And they're just living their best life over here. We've got about what, 3 more weeks, and it'll be time to process these guys. So it's getting close. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope if you decide to raise your own birds that you're able to pasture them too, or at least you're not maybe as intimidated to give it a try. It's not that scary. I promise. It's not that bad. As always, guys, stay blessed and safety's off.